What's going on, everyone? Hope everyone's doing well. We're going to give it a minute here to let everyone kind of filter in. Let me fix my screen again just a little bit, get a little bit lower. Right there, I think will be good. Okay. What's going on, everyone? So we're live again. Hello, Kendall and Cooper. What's up, Gage, Ethan? Hi, Mason and Thomas and Julian. Jack Dawson's in the house. We've got our first Antonelli baseball player filtering in here. Hello, Ryder, Jake, Hunter. So as we're saying hello to everyone, hope everyone's doing well. Hope everybody is safe and healthy. Want to talk a little bit real quick about what we're going to do today. So I've been trying to do these videos just going over baseball situations, just getting you guys to start thinking about some things. I know it's been a while since a lot of us have been on the field playing. Coach Juan did a pitching one a few days ago. Originally, when Coach Juan and I talked about this, we wanted to do something for our Antonelli baseball players, a couple of times a week to be able to get them to think the game. But I decided ultimately that we'd make it live and make it available to everybody. Just so that there's obviously a lot of us out there that want to get on the field, get back on the field, and we're not able to do that. And so hopefully this will kill some of that time that you guys are at home and not able to get out there, and hopefully it'll make you a better player. So hello, Lewis. Thank you again. Oh, thank you, Robert. I appreciate it. Today is my birthday, everyone. So I'm 35 years old now. Never felt better. I feel like I'm 21. No, I don't. Okay, so looks like we got about 100 people in here so far, and there'll be a lot more filtering in as we go. I don't know how long this will go. Probably my goal is 30 minutes, but I always seem to think I'm going to go quicker than I really do. And so I'm going to answer a lot of questions as we go as well. But the main things I want to talk about today, we're going to talk about outfield positioning for a second. We're going to talk about cuts and relays. We're going to talk about situations and where the cutoff men should go. Where do we go to back up? Basically cover every position on the field. This is something that I think a lot of people just take for granted that players are going to know. But this really is a huge part of the game, especially as you start to get older. So the first thing I'll say before we get into it, thank you for all the happy birthday wishes, by the way, everyone. First thing I'll say is everything we're going to talk about today has to be thought about before the play ever happens. Now, baseball instincts, some players have better baseball instincts than others, and some players can kind of move on the fly and just kind of feel what's happening and figure it out on the fly, but that's not the case for most players. Most players have to think about the situation beforehand, and I think a lot of the players that are able to kind of maneuver on the fly, the reason they're able to do that is because they have thought about things prior to the play happening, all right? So really make sure that you're going through situations. You can do this. I mean, you can do this at home. I know there's no baseball on right now, but you can just go through different situations. Say, okay, man on first base, one out, and then balls hit the left field. I'm playing short. What do I do? That's really, really easy to do. When you're in the game, you're going to have the situation presented to you. And in between every pitch, that's your time where you've got to go through some of the situations in your head. What am I going to do if the ball's hit to my right, if it's hit to my left, if it's hit to the outfield? You got to make sure you're doing that every single pitch. All right. So that's the first thing. Okay, let's talk about outfield positioning real quick, because last time we did this about a week or so ago, maybe a little bit less than that, we talked a lot about infield. We talked about infield depths. We talked about infield positioning. So now I want to go to the outfield. The outfield's pretty easy, a lot easier. But let me give you guys just some general things real quick, okay? So in just a standard defense, the way I always tell guys where to stand. Thank you so much, DC. I appreciate that. Because a lot of outfielders don't really know, right? You're kind of out in no man's land. There's no real bases close to you to try to figure out where I should play. So keep this in mind. This is what I was told when I moved to the outfield. I was an infielder for most of my life, but I did play the outfield a decent amount later in my career. Now, this field is not drawn to scale, and I am a horrible artist, so it might look weird because the bases and everything are kind of messed up. But if you just draw an imaginary line, and you go through first base, through second base, and you just kind of continue that line out to here. And then you do it this way. You go through third base, through second base, and you just kind of draw the line out to here. Okay? All right, so let's do that. So let's start with this. So this is a really easy way, and this is something that's going to be obviously on every field, the bases. And so if you think about, as an outfielder, this positioning. Now I know with the way my bases are, it makes it look like the outfielders are really close together. But believe me, you get on a field and you do this, it's not going to be this close, okay? But this is like a kind of a standard way to kind of start your outfield defense. One thing that I notice a ton at every level, this is all the way up to college. I notice this in high school. I notice this at younger levels. We'll play teams where the outfielders think, especially the corner outfielders, right? Because center field is easy. Center field, you just line up straight to home plate. It's really easy. But we'll play teams a lot where the outfielders do this. And they don't even realize it. But they think that because they're in right field, they're supposed to stand right next to the line. Or I'm in left field, I got to stand right next to the line. And so you're guarding foul territory. You're not even guarding fair territory. My goal is I've got to guard fair territory, okay? And so, again, if you draw those lines in your mind and you set up somewhere around there, right? Somewhere around there. Now we're taking away fair territory, okay? Now, can you shift and move depending on the hitters? Yes, you should be. You should be, as an outfielder, you should be studying swings. You should know where in the order these hitters are hitting. If it's a 1 hitter, it's a 9 hitter, it's an 8 hitter, probably not going to drive the ball as much, right? Might hit the ball a little bit more to the opposite field. If it's a 3 hitter, a 4 hitter, probably going to drive the ball a little bit more. Probably going to pull the ball a little bit more. So keep that in mind, and you can shift from here depending on who's hitting. Okay, you can also shift depending on the count. So anytime there's 2 strikes, one thing that I always like is when there's 2 strikes, especially if it's a 1 hitter, 8 hitter, 9 hitter, 7 hitter, the opposite field outfielder. So let's just say it's a left-handed hitter. If it's 2 strikes, this guy right here should slide over and slide in, right? So 2 strikes. Probably hitters are going to be later, right? They can't just try to pull everything with 2 strikes, so they're going to be later, but they're also probably not going to drive the ball as much with 2 strikes. So I move over and I move in a little bit, okay? If it's a right-handed hitter, this guy can move over and in a little bit. So you should always be thinking about that with 2 strikes. The other thing when it comes to moving around, the center fielder should be the guy that's kind of spearheading this. These guys need to all be communicating because they all got to be working in unison. So what the other problem that happens sometimes is that, let's say it's a pull hitter up, okay? And let's say that these guys kind of do what I see a lot at younger levels, and they play like way over here, and this guy plays way over here, okay? So now a right-handed 3-hole hitter comes up, and let's say that the center fielder goes, oh man, I think this guy's going to pull the ball, right? He's been paying attention in the game. So he shifts. And he comes over here, right? But he doesn't say anything to this guy or to this guy. He just says, I think he's going to pull the ball, right? I'm going to move over here. But this guy isn't thinking the game, right? He's over here picking like dandelions. And so he doesn't move with this guy. And so now we've created this huge gap in right center field right here. So what you have to do, you always have to be talking, all right? So everyone should be talking and moving in unison. So if this is where we are, right, say this is where we are, and we decide that we're going to move to the opposite field for this hitter. Well, then this center fielder needs to let these guys know. He needs to whistle over and say, you know, I'm shifting opposite field. Come with me. All right, so he moves this way, and this guy moves with him, and this guy can shift this way. And so now we're shifting the defense together. All together. We never want to make big gaps. Unless you're playing in the big leagues and you have some absolute advanced scouting report that tells you that he either hits the ball here or here, which probably doesn't happen a whole lot, but if that's the case, fine. But you need to be working in unison, working together. All right, so that's really, really important as well. Let's see. The other thing to keep in mind is that a general scouting report from most hitters is, I would say for most hitters, especially youth hitters, is pull on the ground, oppo in the air. Okay, so if you look at if you look at the major leagues, even the major leagues, and say you go on a site like Baseball Savant, which I'll go on every now and then or a lot, And you look at positioning. It'll show you where every player positioned every game for every team. And what you'll notice a lot is the infield is typically playing guys to pull. Typically. The infield will play to pull. The outfield will play oppo. And that's like a standard scouting report. Because usually when guys hit the ball on the ground, they hit it to the pull side. And when they hit it in the air, they hit it to the opposite field. All right? Not everyone realizes that. A lot of times people think at younger levels, like I stick my worst fielder in right field because there's a lot of righty hitters and they won't hit it to the opposite field a lot. But actually in the air, the ball usually goes to the opposite field. On the ground, it usually gets pulled. All right. Again, that's not everybody, but I would say just for a standard scouting report, if you know nothing about the hitter, then that's a good way to start. All right. Okay. So that's our outfield talk. Any questions on outfield? Thank you for the happy birthdays, everyone. All right. Okay, so I think we're good with outfield positioning. Now we're going to get into situations. We're going to talk about backup, where you go to back up. We're going to talk about where the cuts and relays all happen from. All right, so now let's go through. I want to go through. Now, some of this might sound simple, but I want to go through some of these plays. Now, I've taken no notes on this. I'm just going through. I'm just going to call out the situations. We're going to go through it. This is a good test for me to make sure that I know what I'm talking about. I haven't been on the baseball field in a little bit, so let's talk about it. All right, so we've got like a standard defense out here, okay? So let's just say that we have nobody out and nobody on. We're playing our third baseman. Last time we talked about 8 and 6, so let's just say he's here. Let's say the shortstop is here. Let's say the second baseman's here. First baseman's here. And then we've got our outfielders right there. We've got our pitcher on the beautiful mound right there. Okay? All right. So here's the other general rule that you want to think about is that when the ball is hit, all right, let's say there's nobody on. When the ball is hit, you're always going to throw. If it's on the ground, you're going to throw the ball 2 bases ahead of the runner. Okay? So if the guy's at home and he hits a single to the outfield on the ground, the ball's going to be thrown to second base. Okay? Very simple. On the ground, it's always thrown 2 bases ahead of wherever the hitter is or wherever the lead runner is, right? So if he's at first, on the ground, we throw to third, 2 bases ahead. If it's hit in the air, we throw 1 base ahead of the runner. Okay? So man on first, hit in the air, we throw 1 base. All right? So it's 1 base in the air, 2 bases on the ground. There's a real simple rule to keep in mind when you're a young player, and you shouldn't get confused, okay? All right, that's the first thing. Okay, so let's go through some of those situations, all right? So let's say nobody's on base, nobody's out, and there's a ground ball hit over here to the left fielder, single through the hole, right? We're throwing it 2 bases ahead, so we're throwing it to second base. Shortstop's going to be the cutoff, right? So shortstop is the cutoff. Second baseman is going to go take second base. Third baseman is going to take third base. The first baseman... Now, I always like for my first baseman to make sure and that they check to make sure that the runner hits first base, okay? You think that's something that everybody does. There's a lot of guys that miss first base. We have practice in the winter. A couple of our guys are here live right now. We have practice in the winter where we just have guys, we put the bases down and we just go through, there's not even a game. It's just run to the base, hit the base, do it correctly. And young players will miss the base in those simple drills. So just think about now, you have a 10-year-old and an 11-year-old out there, and he gets a big base hit. There's a chance he's going to miss first base every now and then. So first baseman, make sure you watch him hit first base, okay? After that, you've got to be prepared to possibly get into a rundown here. Now, depending on where the ball is, you can also back up. But we should have our outfielders backing up on that, okay? So the ball's hit the left field. This right fielder has to back up, has to get in line with that throw. So depending on where the ball goes, the ball's here, I come here and get in line with that throw. That is my only responsibility as the off-field outfielder, okay? This guy's getting the ball, this guy's moving this way to back up, okay? Pitcher, same thing, your job is always to back up, so you can kind of move this way also and be ready for a backup situation. Cool? Okay, to center field, the way I do it is if the ball is hit to the right of the center fielder, if you're the center fielder, if you want to look at it from this perspective, to the left of the center fielder, if he's got to move this way, shortstop's the cutoff. Second baseman goes here. Everyone else does the same exact thing. Okay? If the ball is hit to this side of the center fielder, the second baseman is the cutoff. The shortstop comes in and takes second base. All right? Third baseman is here. First baseman doing the same thing. As the ball comes over here, now the pitcher can kind of move over this way and be the backup. Everyone understand that? Okay. So pretty simple with nobody on and just a routine ground ball single. All right. As far as hitting the cutoff men, right, on a routine ground ball where this guy's not going to get a double on it, I'm just going to come up and I'm going to throw the ball to the cutoff man, okay? Hit him in the chest, cutoff man, move your feet, cut the ball, turn around, run the ball back into the infield. All right? Nothing wrong can happen there as long as we hit the cutoff man. Now, cutoff man, this is really important. If this guy, let's just draw this guy over here. This is a mistake I see a lot when it comes to cutoff men. Ball goes here. All right. Shortstop. It's just a routine single. All right. So it's just a routine single. And so the shortstop just kind of, lallygags out there. And he says, well, it's just a routine single. He's going to come up and throw me the ball. So instead of getting in line, right? So here would be in line with second base. Instead of getting in line with second base, this guy's kind of lazy. He doesn't really check back and see. And he kind of goes over here, right? And so you might not think that's a big deal, but now this guy wants to throw it to the cutoff man. And every once in a while, Johnny out here throws the ball over the cutoff man's head. But because he's not in line with second, the ball bounces in here and it rolls towards the pitcher's mound. But the second baseman is on second, and so he's like, I'm not going to go get the ball. Third baseman's here, pitcher's backing up here. There's no one in the middle of the field. The ball rolls. This guy sees it. He goes to second base, gets a free base. Okay? So it's really important. The cutoff men have to get in line with the base so that if Johnny happens to throw it over his head, guess what? It goes right to my second baseman who's on the bag already anyway. Everyone got that? So that might seem like it's not a big deal on those type of plays, but it's really important because I've seen lots of balls be thrown over guys' heads and they end up in the middle of the field, and the pitcher shouldn't be in the middle of the field. He should be backing up somewhere. You got that, Schoolie? All right, good. Usually the people that yell at me that they got it are the ones that mess it up in the game. Sorry, Schoolie. All right. So let's go. Now, let's say man on first base. All the same plays, all the same rules apply as far as ball on the ground, we throw it 2 bases ahead. Ball in the air, we throw it 1 base ahead. Okay? So, ball is hit to my left fielder. My shortstop is the cutoff man. He's getting in line. My third baseman is going to third base. My second baseman has second base. My first baseman is making sure that this runner hits first base. And then for this, you don't really have much of a responsibility. Okay? Pitcher. You're moving this way off the mound. You're getting in line for this throw right here. The off outfielder, you're moving this way because man on first, if for some reason this guy gets a great jump and he gets here, but we think we can throw this guy out, this guy might come up firing this way. So you've got to be moving here to be the backup to second base. Center fielder's always backing up the play, so center fielder's moving back here to back that play up right there. Okay? Pitchers, general rule for a pitcher is if you're standing still doing nothing, then you're wrong. Okay? You should always go someplace. As a coach, when I see the ball hit, one of the first things I do is look at the pitcher, and then a lot of times they're not moving. They should be moving, especially young levels. Sometimes they forget. And so I look at the pitcher immediately, and I scream at him, go back up third base. And then he looks over, and then he runs over and backs up third base, okay? So we'd rather not have the coach have to scream that. Yes, this will stay online forever for you guys that want to watch it later on if you missed the beginning of the talk. It'll be up there. Okay? So pitcher, if you're standing still, you're wrong. Really, if any position is standing still and just spectating, then you're wrong, okay? It's usually the opposite field outfielder that gets caught doing this. Because the ball's over here, and he's like, well, I can't get that ball. What am I going to do? Always go and back up someplace, all right? So shortstop's, again, the cutoff man. Now, when a man on first in a ground ball, the shortstop is always going to be the cutoff man, okay? So to center field, shortstop's the cutoff man. Everyone else does the same thing. To right field, shortstop's the cutoff man. Okay, so ball's hit to the right fielder. Second baseman is going to go cover second base. The shortstop is going to come in here, and he's going to be the cutoff man. He's going to line himself up. All right. Now, one thing about cutoff men, and this depends a little bit on your age. I call them cutoff men because their job is typically to cut the ball off, not to relay the ball. All right. So there will be certain situations depending on your age. If you're like 13 years old or maybe 14 years old and you're new to the big diamond, well, then maybe you can't reach the right fielder can't reach third base. And we're not talking about in the air. We talked about last time, I want to throw a long hop. All right, one big hop. So maybe that situation, we may have to relay the ball. But one mistake I see happen a lot is that I see cutoff men going way too far out into the outfield. And so in this situation, let's just say that it's a man on first and it's a ground ball single to right field. This is what I'll see a lot. The second baseman will come in here and go to second. And then the shortstop will come way out here and maybe even further sometimes. And this guy picks up the ball and he throws it and this guy catches it. And now this guy's got a really, really long throw. Okay? And so I've got a couple things. One, I need to know my outfielder's arm. Okay, so if he has a stronger arm, I'm not going to come as close to him. If you got a weaker arm, then yeah, I'll come out a little bit. But I want to caution everyone to go too far, right? I want to be back here because my main job, thank you so much, my main job is I'm going to cut the ball off most of the time. I'm very rarely going to catch it and then relay it to that base that we're trying to get the runner at, right? That doesn't happen a ton. Outfielders, your job is to throw the ball low and hard through the cutoff man's head. The real goal is, let's say this is high school, okay? Let's say you're in high school. This is what it would look like in high school. Ball's hit right here. Second baseman's there. Shortstop, you should be somewhere right about there. All right? Ball's going to be low and hard. It should be through your head. You shouldn't cut it. It should bounce once and go right to the third baseman. If for some reason this guy rounds here and we know we can't have him out and the ball throw is low and hard and this guy decides that, oh, I see that throw, but I'm going to try to get to second base, we should be able to cut the ball, redirect it to second base, boom, you're out. The other reason why the ball needs to be low and hard through the cutoff man's head is because, that gives us a chance to get this guy if we need to, but it stops this guy at first. As a base runner, when I'm rounding first base or I'm heading to first base on this type of ball, I'm reading ball flight. If I see the ball is thrown high and this guy can't cut it, well, then I just keep rolling the second base. They'll never get me. If I see a low throw, then I automatically shut it down because I know it can be cut and I stop. So that's why we need low, hard throws. Now, again, sometimes at younger levels, this guy says, oh, I got to reach him in the air, and he throws a hand grenade to third base. No. I throw the ball low. If it bounces a few times, that's okay. We can cut it if we need to, and we'll limit the runners from moving up to the next base. Thanks, Gavin. All right. So hopefully that makes sense to everyone. On that ball right here, again, pitcher, you're backing up third base right there. Okay? So the pitcher is always backing up the lead base, right? So any of these balls, my pitcher is always backing up third base. Pitchers, when you're backing up third base, there's another mistake I see. Here's third base, and the pitcher runs over here, and he stands like right here. And the ball gets by the third baseman, and it gets by the pitcher because he's so close to the third baseman. Thanks, Glenn. So I need to get deep. There's no penalty for being too deep, right? I need to get deep so that, one, this ball doesn't go over his head and over my head. Two, if it goes past this guy, it's a long hop, and I can do whatever I need to do. I can get out and block the ball. I can do anything. Okay? So if there's a fence somewhere, get up against the fence, right? But just don't be too close. Get deep so the ball can't get past you. You're the last line of defense. If that ball gets past you and out of play, this guy automatically scores. All right? Let me see. We got a question real quick. Let me just see what that question is before we go on. Always go for the double play. Okay? All right. Let's see now. Now on a fly ball, again, on a fly ball with a man on first, we're always throwing to the next base, right? We're not throwing two bases ahead. We're throwing one base ahead. So man on first, we would throw to second base. And so the cutoffs are the exact same as if no one's on. It's just a ground ball, right? So on this side, we're going to second. The shortstop leads. Over here, the shortstop leads. Once the second or the center fielder goes this way, the second baseman leads, and the shortstop goes here, and then the second baseman leads on a ball to right field. Okay, it's the exact same thing as a ground ball with nobody on. That's the same thing. All right. Okay, now let's talk about man on second base. Okay, so let me clean this up. So we got a man on second. Now, ball in the ground. So ball in the ground, we're throwing 2 bases ahead. So that would be home. Ball in the air, we're throwing 1 base ahead. That would be the third. Okay? Hold on one sec, guys, with your questions. I'll answer questions in a few minutes, unless it's on that specific play. Okay, so man on second. Here's what it's going to look like. Ball hit to, let's put our infielders back here again. Boop. Okay. Man on second base. Ground ball hit to the left fielder. Third baseman is the cutoff man to home. Okay? Shortstop, you're going to third base. Second baseman, you're going to second base. Okay? First baseman, you're doing kind of the same thing. You're making sure that the batter runner touches first base. You could possibly get into a rundown here. Okay? Opposite outfielder, you're coming this way in case for some reason we can't get him and we got to throw the ball here. Center fielder's going to back up the play right there. All right? Now, third baseman, same exact thing that we talked about a minute ago. Third baseman should be in here, not way out here. Okay? I'm in here, again, because I'm a cut man. So the throw should be low and hard through this head, one bounce to the catcher. If we need to cut it, we can redirect the ball and throw the ball to second if this guy is going to try to go here and we feel we can't get the guy scoring. All right? So don't be way out here. Typically, the first few days of high school baseball every year for us, we go through it, especially if it's a new third baseman. The ball is hit. This guy sprints way out here. This happens in travel ball, everything. This guy sprints out here, and I'm yelling, deeper. Like, get back here. All right, so the guys always want to go out, move back. Again, know the outfielder's arm and adjust to his arm, but I want to be back here so that I can redirect the ball to second base if I have to. All right? Pitcher, get your butt back here behind the catcher. Make sure you get deep. Let's put him back there. All right. Ball hit the center field. Anything hit the center field or to right field, the first baseman is the cutoff man. Okay? So, let's say the ball is hit to center field. Third baseman's got third. Shortstop's got second. Second baseman has first base. You're going to come this way and be at first base. First baseman, you are the cutoff man. Your job is to sprint and get somewhere right in front of the mound, okay? Now, the mistake I see here is sometimes first basemen go behind the mound. That's a terrible idea because if the ball comes and hits the mound, it can ricochet anywhere. So you always want to be in front of the mound so that the ball can't hit the mound and ricochet somewhere, all right? Get in front of the mound. It's a really easy lineup. You should be lined up directly. I mean, you can run over there and you're going to see the mound, but you can check back and see home plate and make sure you get yourself in line. All right? Ball hit the right field, first baseman, same thing as the third baseman. You're going to come right in here. All right? So make sure you get deep, get lined up, be able to redirect the ball to second base if you need to. Don't be way out here like a relay guy. Okay? What else can we talk about real quick? Oh, let's see. Lining guys up. Let's talk about that for a second before we go any further. When I'm lining guys up, in this situation, catcher's got to line the guy up. Now, it's your responsibility as an infielder, as I'm sprinting over here, I should be checking. So I should be sprinting this way, right? Let's just say there's a man on second again and the ball's hit like to the center fielder. I'm sprinting and I'm looking as I'm running. I'm lining myself up. So don't just run over there blind and just be like, I'm just going to hope I run the right spot and I'll let him line me up. Line yourself up. You should be somewhere in the vicinity. Now, the fine-tune adjustments come from the catcher. He should be yelling left or right, okay? You can yell good if he's in a good spot, right? If he gets here and you say good, 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 that's usually what I would do. I go left, left, or right, right, and then I'd say good, good, good. Boom, you put yourself right there, all right? So make sure we're lining guys up. Whoever is on the bag that we're throwing the ball to, line the guy up. Let him know left, right, or good. Cool? What else? On the throws. Now, this is my personal preference. I'll tell you what I tell all of our guys. I know depending on where you play, this might be different. But I always like the verbal from, let's say in this instance, the catcher. He's going to say a couple of things, okay? The first thing is if he wants the ball to go straight through with nothing to happen, you say nothing. Don't say let it go. Don't say anything, Okay, just don't say anything. If the infielder doesn't hear anything, that means the ball's on target. Let the ball come to the catcher or whichever base we're throwing to. All right. If we need the ball cut and redirected to a base, or we need the ball relayed, then the catcher in this situation is just going to say the base that he needs it to go to. So if he wants it relayed 4, here comes the throw. He's going to go 4, 4, 4. You're going to cut the ball and throw it to 4. If he wants it to 3, you go 3, 3, 3. You want it to second, you go 2, 2, 2. You want it to first, you go 1, 1, 1. That's very easy. So I line my guy up, I set up, the ball comes in, I hear 3, 3, 3, I cut it and throw it to third. It can't get any easier. I hear 4, 4, 4, I cut it and I throw it home. Okay? If I'm the catcher and I just want the ball cut and I don't want it thrown anywhere, I just want you to cut the ball and hold it, I just yell cut, cut, cut. That's it. Someone asked about the Derek Jeter play. We're going to get into that in a minute. I always talk about that play. All right? So cut means cut the ball and don't throw it anywhere. All right? Base, the number of the base means throw it to that base, and nothing means nothing. It can't get any simpler than that. I always think some teams make it more confusing. They start yelling cut 4 and cut 3. Well, if you yell 3, we know you want to cut it, right? So what do I say if I want to cut and not throw? Cut nowhere. Cut. I think it gets difficult. So just think about what we just talked about. All right. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. What else? All right. So man on second, we covered all of that. I talked about the second baseman needing to get here. What I've seen happen before, I've seen this happen a lot actually. Let's say it's a ground ball to right field with a man on second, and then this guy is the cutoff man, so he's in here. Well, let's say he's there. Okay. And, or even better actually, let's say the ball's hit the center field and this guy's here, okay? Now what I'm doing, if I'm the hitter, I hit a ground ball single up the middle. I think they might throw home. I'm running this way. I'm reading the throw, right? The height of the throw. But I look up, I'm running here, and I notice the second baseman has decided to just kind of hang out here and be a spectator. Well, now I know that nobody's at first base. So I can take a big, hard, aggressive turn. I can get way out here to read that throw. And if I think it's high, well then, that's easy for me to get there, right? That's super, super easy. If the ball's offline, I can go up easy because nobody's here to stop me from doing that, right? What you're supposed to be doing is not, again, playing with dandelions, you're supposed to be getting over here and getting the first base. Because now the runner, when he circles the bag, I can't go very far to read that ball because this guy's standing here. If he cuts it, I have to be back. So I have to slow down like right here, right? So that's the reason why this is important. The other thing is, if you're not here, if you're over here and this guy cuts it and this guy goes, oh, wow, I made a bad read. There's no one here to throw the ball to. So he goes, oh, crap, I made a bad read. Who's faster, the first baseman or the runner? Usually the runner. And now it's a foot race back to the bag. But this guy could be like way out here and still beat the guy back to the bag. Okay? So that's why I say if you're standing around spectating during a play, you're doing something wrong. So if the ball's hit and you're sitting there watching, your brain should be, their alarm should be going off and be saying, I'm messing up. I'm messing up. Go someplace, please. And then go someplace. You should know hopefully where to go if you've thought about the situation already. All right? So that's another mistake I see happen a lot when it comes to cutoffs. Okay. Man on second, fly ball again. We're throwing one base ahead. The cutoffs are the same exact as we just talked about with a man on first and a ground ball through, right? Shortstop's always the cut. All right? Those plays mirror each other. They're the same exact thing. Okay? Let's talk about man on third base. Man on third base is really easy. Ground ball, this guy scores, we're just back to having nobody on, right? That's it. We talked about it the very first time, all right? If it's a fly ball, we're throwing one base ahead, which means we're throwing home, which is exactly what we just talked about with a man on second and a ground ball through the infield, right? It's the same thing. Ball to the left fielder, third baseman is the cutoff, he's the cutoff man in here. To the center fielder or to the right fielder, the first baseman is the cutoff man, okay? Now, one thing I'll say, you're throwing through the cutoff man's head. Always throw it low and hard and through the cutoff man's head. Don't throw it to him, throw it through his head. So he can cut it if he needs to, or if he lets it go, it's one long hop. All a long hop is the ball should bounce and be a perfect throw right to the infielder that's covering the bag for the tag. All right. Now, it's not always going to happen like that. That's perfect. but I want it low, and maybe it bounces twice sometimes. That's okay. Better than throwing, again, hand grenades up in the air where runners are just running all over the place because the ball's thrown so high. All right. Let's see. What else can we talk about? Now, the other thing, there's a bunch of different situations we can talk about, right? First and third and first and second, and they're all the same exact things that we just talked about. That basic rule where on a fly ball, we're throwing one base ahead, and on a ground ball, we're throwing two bases ahead. So that always is the rule. The thing with outfield play is on certain plays, you have to have some judgment. You have to just don't be a robot, and you have to understand the speed of the runners. Okay, so let's say that let's just say that there's a man at first and second. Okay, and the ball's hitting the gap somewhere, or we've got to go and get the ball. Right, so it's not a ball hit right at us. We need to know what are the speed of these guys. Is this guy an absolute burner, and this guy is slow as anything, and there's no chance we can throw that guy out at home? Well, then we can come up and throw the ball to third base, right? So you have to understand the base runner's speed, okay? Because when there gets multiple guys on base, they're not always going to be the same speed. And so those rules, those are the general rules. But if this guy's going to score easy, we're not just going to take it and throw it home if we can instead throw the trail runner out someplace, okay? So just always think about that. You need to know the speed of the runners at all times. So when I'm in the outfield, I might not know their speed because I never played against them, but I know where they hit in the order. I can look at his body type and say, man, that guy looks like he's fast. Oh, he's a leadoff hitter. He's short and he's skinny. He's probably fast, right? Oh, this guy is the 4-hole hitter, and he's 100 pounds more than every other kid on this team. He's probably not that fast. So that's what I'm doing. Now, you might be wrong every now and then, but usually you're going to be right. You've seen enough kids run around, right? And you can tell, okay, that kid looks athletic. That kid don't look too athletic. Then you start to figure out their speeds. You got to know the batting order. It's really important. Before you go on the field every time, you should check the batting order. Ask coach, who's up for them? 4, 5, 6. Okay, thanks, coach. Run out to the field, right? Who's up for them? 7, 8, 9. Run out to the field. All right, so get in that habit. All right. Hold on one second. I don't know what that means. All right. So, but I do know. Hold on one sec, guys. I just got to get rid of this person. Okay. All right. So now let's talk about any questions on that. So we just went through a bunch of different situations. My name is Matt Antonelli. So we're going to take a 30-second break here and see if any questions come across. I don't know the point of spamming. I never understood that. I always just kick the people out and block them. I don't know if some people don't do that, but I don't have time to look at the spammers' comments. All right, looks like we're good with questions. Hi, Chance. Okay, so now let's talk about double cuts. Okay, so this is something that should be done. This is my daughter's easel, by the way, DC. She's sleeping right now though, so she doesn't need it. Let's talk about double cuts. This is something that should be done basically usually from 13U and up once we get to the big field. Now, depending on the field size, if you're a 12-year-old, 11-year-old, 10-year-old, if you have a huge field, then you might want to work on this. A lot of times Little League fields are so small that you don't really need this. But again, know your field size. So let's go into double cuts now. Okay, so what is a double cut? A double cut is a ball that is hit that is an automatic double. Okay, we know this ball is going to be a double. So it's smashed over the outfielders' heads. It's driven down into the corner, right? It's a shot in the gap where we know it's a double and it's a possible triple, okay? When that happens, we're going to send two guys out to be the cut because the ball is going to be up against the fence, right? Maybe we're playing at a field that there is no fence. And so we're going to need multiple guys out there because we've got a lot of real estate to cover out here, all right? We want two guys out there as well because if the ball gets thrown, let's say we sent one guy out and this guy's got it way in the corner. He's 330 feet away. Or let's say he gets it in the gap and he's 390 feet away. If he throws it over the cutoff man's head and there's only one cutoff man there, guess what that ball's going to do? It's going to just roll and it's going to stop in the grass somewhere in here, and then this guy's going to go, oh crap, and he's going to have to run all the way out here, and then guys are going to just be circling the bases, okay? So you always want to send 2 cutoff men so that the second guy can get the ball if the first guy misses it or if it's a bad throw. All right, so let's talk about this. There's 2 different situations that you're going to use when you're talking about double cuts. The first one is nobody on base. All right, so if there's nobody on base, here's the rule. Nobody on base and the ball is hit. Let's say the ball is hit anywhere where it's a double cut. It's an automatic double. All right, we're always going to line up to third base because we're not throwing the ball to second base. We already said it's an automatic double. The guy just smoked the ball. All right, so we're lining up to third base. Now, how do we line up to third? So let's say the ball's first down the left field line. All right, third baseman, you're going to go here. You're going to take third base. The shortstop is going to be the lead cutoff man, all right? Or in this instance, we call it a relay man because it is a relay now. These are cuts and relays. So the shortstop is going to be the lead man. The second baseman is going to be the trail man. So let's put this guy. This guy went and fielded the ball way in the corner over here. The shortstop's the lead man. The second baseman's the trail man. The third baseman's lining them up. These guys should be approximately 30 feet away from each other. The first baseman, we'll talk about why we do that in a second. The first baseman, your job on this hit, you're playing somewhere back here. Your job is to get in here, get to the inside part, up on the grass. You're going to watch the hitter round first. You're going to make sure that he touches first base, and then you're going to trail him. You're going to trail him on the inside, and you're going to stay right here on the inside and behind him so he can't see you coming. If he turns this corner too far, thinking, oh, nobody's at second. I just saw both these guys run out here. One of them can cut it, or the third baseman can get it. The first baseman is going to trail behind him. He's going to be right here. Throw it to him, catch it, tag him. Okay, so the first baseman is always making sure he touches first, and then you're going to trail. All right. These guys are lined up about 30 feet apart because if the ball is thrown to this guy, okay, and it's over your head, or it's to the point where you have to jump. If you have to jump way up in the air to catch it, you're just going to let it go. It's going to go right to the second guy. You're going to catch it and be able to transfer the ball and throw it to wherever this guy's yelling, probably 3. All right? If the ball is thrown in the dirt where it's going to be like a short hop and you're going to have to try to pick it, well, then you just let it go and it's going to make one big bounce to the trail guy, and then he is going to throw the ball to the base. All right? So that's why we have 2 guys. If it's a perfect throw to you, you just catch it and you throw the ball to the base. Listen to this guy. He should be saying 3-3-3. Catch it, throw it to third. Okay? So that's why we're going to do the double cut. Now, third baseman, you're lining up the guys again. So as the ball goes out here, you're yelling left, 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 left. Good, good, good. The trail guy is the lead guy's eyes. So as you're running out there, this guy should be peeking. He should be peeking and lining himself up. But this guy's also peeking, and he's relaying this guy's call. So if this guy's yelling left, 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 well, then this guy should be yelling left, left, left for that guy. Everyone got it? Because again, depending on the field, if the ball's, let's say, hit way out here, that's a long yell. And so this lead guy might not hear him, but the trail guy should be lining him up, looking to see where he's lined up, and then relaying the call. All right? Priority system for fly balls, yes, we will talk about that. I don't know if we'll talk about that today, but we have to talk about that. Okay? So you're the eyes for the lead guy. That's what the trails guy job is. All right? Let's see what else. Pitcher. You're going to get off the mound. You're going to go back up third base. Always go back up the lead base, which in this case is third base. So just go over here and back up. All right? Don't just stand on the mound. Okay, so that's the rule. Now, that's the basic rule for any ball that's hit to this side of the center fielder. Okay? So it's always shortstop leads. Second baseman trails. First baseman, you trail the runner. Get in here, see him touch the bag, trail the runner. If the ball's hit to this side of the center fielder, well then, second baseman leads, shortstop trails. If the ball's in here, second baseman leads, shortstop trails. Everything is the same. Nothing changes. That's the only change is who's leading. Shortstop to this side, second baseman to this side. Yes, second baseman. Good point. If the first guy catches the ball, the lead guy catches the ball, Don't stand there as a trail guy and be like, hey, what's going on, buddy? Because he's going to throw it right through your face, okay? Get down. So I see the lead guy catch the ball. I relay the call. I hear 3-3-3. I yell 3-3-3. I see him catch it and turn. I get down on the ground. Get down, okay? What's he saying, Forrest Gump? You guys probably have never seen Forrest Gump. He say, get down, shut up. Yeah, so get down, okay? You don't have to shut up. You can yell 3-3-3, but get down. All right. Those are the rules. Everyone got those rules. Oh, ball hit directly over the center fielder's head. What you can do is you can go strongest arm. So depending on whose arm is strongest, can be the lead guy. Maybe the second baseman has a cannon. If the second baseman has a cannon, and the shortstop's arm is, a water pistol, which usually it isn't, but maybe it is for some reason. Well, then the second baseman run out there can go, I'm lead, and you lead. Yep, got it. Yes, it was a Lieutenant Dan quote. Okay, so but usually the shortstop is going to lead that. All right. Okay. Any questions on that? Yeah, it's usually going to be the shortstop with the stronger arm. All right, so hopefully that makes sense to everybody. Okay. Now let's move on. And this one's a little bit more confusing. Not really. There's just what I call special situations on this next one. So let's say there's a man on first. Okay? Anytime there's a man on first and the ball is hit for a sure double, possible triple, double cut situation, we're always going to line up to home. Okay? We're going to try to throw this guy up. So you always line up 3 bases ahead. Right? So when there's nobody on base, we're lining 3 bases ahead to third. When there's a man on first, we're lining 3 bases ahead to home. Got it? Good. All right. So almost everything stays the same on this. First baseman doing the same thing. You're getting in here, watching the runner hit the bag, trail the runner. Okay? Ball's hit to left field. There goes the left fielder over to get it. Now we're lining up home, correct? So what's going to happen is, let's draw our guys in here again. We're lining up home. Ball's hit here. Third baseman, go to third base. Okay? You will cover third. Shortstop, you're the lead guy. Second baseman, you're the trail guy. It's the same exact thing that we just did, basically. Okay? Nothing really changes. With one rule. This is the exception. I have 2 exceptions on these plays, okay? Now, this is a little bit more like higher level. I didn't really hear about this stuff until I got into pro ball, but I suggest you do it because it works. Just no one ever talked to us about it before then. Let's say this ball goes and it goes right down the line, or maybe it goes like this and it hooks over the bag and then it rolls down into foul territory. Okay, so this guy goes and gets it here. Now, a good setup, but not a great setup, would be shortstop leads right there. Second baseman trails. Third baseman's on the bag. Just like that. Now that's okay, but that's not great because when this runner rounds third and he's headed home, he's going to be running right there. And you're going to get the ball. This guy's going to get, one of these guys is going to get the ball from the cutoff man, and you're going to turn and you're going to have to throw the ball. And this guy is going to be right in the way of the throw, right? The ball's coming right here because you always run in foul territory. So it's really difficult for the catcher. He's got to see the ball. He's got to navigate around the runner. It could hit the runner in the back of the head or something. And so what we do is I always tell the guys down the line, or especially in foul territory, we want to line up about 5 feet in fair territory. So we're going to line up. We're always going to stay in fair. Never go in foul territory. Stay about 5 feet fair. This guy's going to get the ball. It's going to be a little bit of an angle throw, which is fine. I catch the ball here. Now I'm on the inside, and now I got a free path. The catcher will set up here. I got a free lane to throw the ball and tag the guy out, okay? That might sound, you might only see that play maybe once or twice a year. Maybe you don't see it at all. But we practice it that way just because I think it just makes sense. That's the way I was taught it in the major leagues. And, at that level, you have to really make sure you've got all your... what's it called? I's dotted and T's crossed and all that stuff. So just think about that. All right. If it's just a regular ball hit somewhere over here, well, then it's the same thing. They line up. They're just lined up normal. Okay. Now, if the ball is hit Anywhere else, it's the same rules that we just talked about. Okay, third baseman's going to go here. Shortstop's going to lead on anything to this side. Second baseman trails. On anything to this side, second baseman leads. Shortstop trails. All the same. Got it? All the same. The only difference, and remember, we're lining up to 4 on these because of man on first. Now, the only difference is ball down the right field line. So this is the Derek Jeter play. A lot of people always talk about the Derek Jeter play. What the hell happened in Derek Jeter play? So, Derek Jeter play. Ball's hit to the right fielder. To this side of the right fielder. Okay, so if it's hit to this side of the right fielder, it doesn't have to be right down the line, but it can just be to this side of the right fielder. Here's the ball up against the fence right there. Now, what we do on this play is, I drew those the wrong colors, but that's okay. We're going to make you that. Okay. Now, on this play, the ball's over here. That's too far for the shortstop to get all the way over there. So what we do is, this first baseman, who's not standing on the bag, well, I guess he is. He's holding the runner on. Okay? He is going to be the lead guy, and he's just going to run right here. Okay? The second baseman is going to run over here, and you're going to be the trail guy. Third baseman still is covering third. Catcher's here. Pitcher's backing up. Shortstop doesn't really have a responsibility. You're kind of set to roam. Okay? So the shortstop's a roamer. So the shortstop comes in this area, somewhere right here, okay? And what you're doing is, there's a couple of different things that could happen. This guy could catch the ball, this guy could score, this guy could round the bag too far, and maybe they yell 2-2-2. You step up to second base to be the guy that's going to catch the ball there, okay? Maybe the ball is thrown and caught right here, and this guy's going to third, and maybe you slide over here and you can be a cut. You're probably not going to have to cut the ball, but maybe you are, okay? But what happened in Derek Jeter play is that the ball was thrown, and sorry, I have these guys lined up like the ball's down the line. If the ball is like right there, then, you're just going to slide over a little bit, line up like that, okay? If the ball is thrown, what happens is the ball gets thrown over their heads. Jeter, because he's either a genius or, I don't know, he was just born with some type of gene that put him in the right spot at every moment of his career. He sees the ball getting thrown over their heads, so he starts moving over here. The ball bounces right to Derek Jeter, and he backhand shovel passes it to the catcher, who tags the runner out, right? If you guys remember that. It was against the Oakland A's, I think it was, right? I believe it was. So that's what happened. Shortstop doesn't really have a responsibility. His responsibility, on my paper that I wrote down a long time ago, I write shortstop roams. That's what he does. He just roams, and he has a bunch of different things he can do, okay? So that's it. Cool. Thank you, Daryl. All right. So those basically cover, I think we got everything there. Did I miss anything? I don't remember that play. I'd have to go back and look at it. So that's, yeah, Jeremy Giambi, that's right. And didn't he not slide? I feel like he didn't slide either. I think he was probably like, how the hell is Derek Jeter over here? That's not the shortstop position. Okay. So that covers all the cutoffs, all the situations, pretty much. Double cuts and relays. Right, exactly. Yeah, he didn't slide. Ethan, I blocked you on Twitch because you wouldn't be quiet. Sorry. Okay, so let's open up the questions here for a minute. Any questions? So what I think we'll do next time is that we'll probably do some pop-up communication. We haven't done that yet. Oh, we'll definitely do some base running. That's what we have to do. We have to do a lot of base running. Wow, I got a lot of questions here. Let's see. Bunt plays. So we talked a little bit last week about bunt plays. Ethan, now you've got to go too. Sorry, Ethan, but I know you're going to sign on from a bunch of different things, but I don't mean to be mean, Ethan, but this is for baseball people. Sorry. Okay. And now I lost my train of thought because Ethan decided to write a bunch of nonsense in there. Jack Dawson, any questions, Jack? Anything more that we need to talk about? We got a lot of stuff that we can talk about, but I don't want to. We've been going for about an hour, so we got to talk about. Oh, here we go. We got a legit question. First baseman trailer on double cut. Who calls for the throw to second? The first baseman or the third baseman? Okay, so the guy that's always at that. So let's say there's nobody on. Third baseman's the general on that one, right? So we're setting up the third. So he's the general. He's making all the calls. He's got to be watching the ball. He's got to be watching the runner. He makes the calls on that. All right. Whether it's 3-3-3, 2-2-2, cut, whatever it is, you're doing it. When there's a man on first, we're always setting up the home, so the catcher's now the general. So he's going to make the call. All right. Someone just asked, what about on a triple? So on a triple, this is going to be the situation. So you're going to do a double cut on any possible triple. The only other, maybe the outfielder boots the ball or something. He goes to get it. He kind of kicks it. Well, in that situation, we won't have time to get both out there. So it's just your standard cuts that we talked about earlier. But on the ball that's smashed, on a triple, a double, possible triple, we're going to do this cutoff. Now, if this guy fumbles the ball, kicks it around, let's say we're lined up to third, right? So let's say ball's over here, and we've got our shortstop, right? There's nobody on. Shortstop is trailing, second baseman is leading, we're setting up the third base. All of a sudden, this guy kind of kicks the ball or whatever, get the ball, throw it into the cutoff man quickly, and we should be yelling. The third baseman and the catcher in this case can say 4-4-4, and then we just transition the throw over here. We don't even have to, if we're here and this guy boots it, it's not like we have to sprint to try to get over it. Just get the ball into where we originally set up to, and now just redirect the ball to four. Okay? Good question. All right, let's see. We'll do a couple more questions. Jack Dawson. Oh, here we go, Jack. With first and second. All right, so we got first and second. Should I anticipate a bunt down the third base line to draw the third baseman in, or first base to make a hard throw to third? Good question, Jack. So we should talk about this. We will talk about this. Double cuts. Yes, that's what we just talked about. I don't know if you didn't see it or not. Okay, I will answer this for you, Jack. We'll do another segment on bunt stuff. But anytime there's men on first and second, and we're going to bunt, we always bunt to the third baseman because he has a responsibility. He can't charge. He's got to hold there in case this guy steals. So you bunt to him, he's got to come get it, and he's got to throw it to first base. If you bunt it to the first baseman, he has no responsibility first and second. He doesn't have to hold the runner. So he's going to be in on the grass. He sees you square. He's breaking hard. You bunt it to him. That's an easy throw to third base. Third baseman's just going to turn around and go right back to third base. So tandem is the same as double cuts. Yep, same thing. Some people call them piggybacks, tandems, double cuts. On an error pickoff to first base. So if you're throwing the first, man on first, you throw it and you throw it down the line. This guy's coming over here. Second baseman, you're the closest guy. You just run over and be the cut. On those cases, a lot of times on those cases, those are going to be a lot of things that aren't practiced a whole lot. So it's a little bit improvisation, but not really. I mean, just get it to the closest guy. This guy, come in here, get it to him. But again, on the bunt plays where we just talked about, I want to reiterate again. Man on first only, bunt to first. Man on first and second, bunt to third. What position has the least amount of responsibility? That's a tough question. I mean, I would say in general, if you're the catcher, you're not going to go anywhere, right? You're covering home plate. You may back up on a ground ball, to somewhere you're going to run down the line. But generally, you're just going to stand at home plate. But you are the general. You see the whole field in front of you, so you are making the call a lot, So third baseman, typically he's going to be third base, right? You're going to be the cutoff in here on singles to left field with a man on second base and a fly ball to left with a man on third base. But it's not super complicated. I would say the middle infield is probably the most responsibility. Deacon a runner? Yeah, kind of. Deacon a runner, there's a couple different ways to deke runners. So you can deke a runner if you've got first and second, let's just say you're the middle infielders here, right? Say this guy steals. Maybe they've got a hit and run on, or it's just a straight steal. A lot of times the runner doesn't peek in, he just runs. So he doesn't know if the ball's hit or not hit or whatever. He's like, typically he's going to try to listen, but it's hard to hear sometimes. You're just going to read the reactions of the fielders. So what you can do is, if you're the shortstop and this guy's stealing, and say the second baseman is covering on the steal, right? Or I guess it really doesn't even matter. If it's hit in the air, let's just say it's hit in the air. This guy's stealing. Ball swung and hit in the air. Less than 2 outs. If you're the shortstop or you're the middle infielders, you can fake a ground ball. So this guy can go, act like he's getting down the field a ground ball. This guy sees him fielding a ground ball or looking like he's going to field a ground ball. What are you going to do? You're going to slide into second base to break up the double play. But the ball's in the air. So he slides in, ball's in the air, gets caught, we double him off. So that's one way you can deke the runner. You got to be a real headsy player. You got to have really good instincts. Got to probably play the game a lot. But that is one way to do it. The other way to deke runners is on stolen bases and stuff like that. Now, you got to be careful with this one. Sometimes people don't like this one. I remember in high school a few years ago, Jake Gustin did this, who's an Antonelli baseball player, did it to our high school, St. John's Prep. My dad yelled at him. I thought it was a fine play. It was the guy was stealing. The pitch was thrown to the catcher. Obviously, the ball got way away from the catcher, and Jake didn't want our guy to go first to third on the wild pitch. And so Jake got to the bag and just acted like he went like this, like he was going to catch the ball from the catcher. And the runner slid into second base, and the ball's way over here. And I thought it was actually a pretty good play. My dad got mad because he thought that someone could get hurt on that. But I actually, I think I yelled at my dad on that one. Ethan, if you don't stop talking, I'm going to block every account that you own. You're starting to really make me mad. Which outfielder should have the strongest arm? So typically, the right fielder has the strongest arm because the right fielder is furthest away from third base, right? So right fielder, furthest from third, usually strongest arm. Left fielder typically has the weakest arm because he's closest to third base, right? Everyone's basically the same distance from home plate and from second base. But third base and first base are different. You're never going to throw to first base really as an outfielder, so it don't matter. So that's why they put the strongest arm in right field. Shifts do affect cutoffs a little bit, but I would say most young players don't. I would say actually a lot of times the shifts are, you can still do the same cutoff stuff. You might just have to run a little bit further. Yes, correct. Ground balls to center field and right field with a runner in scoring position or on second base. First base is a cut, correct. As a runner on first with less than 2 outs, what's the best way to know if a fly ball is going over the right fielder's head? Okay, so a couple things. Whoops, sorry guys. Keep moving this camera around. So a couple more and then I got to go because I hear my son screaming upstairs. So if you're on first base, you want to check the outfielders between every pitch. But the most important outfielder to check if you're on first base is the right fielder. Because that's the guy when the ball is hit, you can, as you're running, you can see the center field and you can see the left fielder, but you can't see the right fielder because he's behind you. So I need to know where this guy is. And I want to know, is he shaded to a gap? Is he over here? Because then I know anything over my head, I'm going. He can't catch this ball, right? If it's like a low line drive. I also want to know his depth. If he's playing way back here, right? He's hugging the fence. Well, I know anything shallow over my head, that's in there. I'm going first to third. Same thing. You just asked about a ball over your head. Let's say we know he's shallow. Ball's crushed. I can probably just go. Now, what you want to get away from is having to, ball's hit and you have to just turn around every single time. Now, there's going to be certain situations where you're going to kind of have to do that. Ball's smashed. If the ball's smashed, like you just said, I'm going to start getting off the bag pretty aggressively. I'm going to be running. And now I just peek over my right shoulder and I just look and I see what happens. And then I'm judging it. And the more that the outfielder runs deeper, the more I get off. Right? And then there comes a point where I know he ain't catching this. I see his numbers and I know he ain't catching it. Then I go. If I think, oh man, this guy might catch it, I start to slow down. If he gets under it, maybe I shuffle back. All right, guys. So how do you know if the ball is going to drop in? You just from experience, you just see a lot of games, see a lot of balls dropping, see a lot of outfielders going after balls. Sometimes you mess up. I mean, there's certain times in my career, everyone's career, that you mess up, but you gain that through experience. All right. Is the hidden ball trick? So hidden ball tricks. It depends how the hidden ball trick is done. Sometimes it can be bush league, but if you're a team that's doing hidden ball tricks like 3 times a game, like that's kind of ridiculous. If you're the first baseman that does this every time, fakes the throw, and then just stands there like this every play, like eventually I'm probably gonna be like, dude, please just throw the ball back. We don't have time for this. Thanks, Jay. I've played every position on the field, which is helpful, I guess, as a coach. Don't really ever see a trick play in pro ball. I never saw it, but I'm sure that it's happened. Never hold a runner on third, ever, 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 ever. If you're the third baseman, you should never, ever, 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 ever hold a runner on third base. Okay, so hopefully that clears that up. All right, guys, that's all we got. My son's running around like a crazy man upstairs. I told him I'd be gone for 30 minutes. It's been 65 minutes. I think he's freaking out. So everyone, stay healthy. Hopefully you guys got a lot out of this. Ethan, I hope your cough gets better. Just kidding. I don't. And that's all we have. So thanks again, guys. Thanks for the questions. And we'll see you next time. See you, Jack.